We're up here in the sewing department where we prepare all of our fabrics, and this area is where we prepare all borders. Every mattress and box spring border gets prepared by this machinery. We stock a lot of it on shelves and we cut it to size when needed. So this is our cutting operation, and we hand cut all of our material. And as you'll see here, we're stringing up material to be cut in layers. And then over here, we take those layers and then we cut them by hand. This is a process that nobody else does today by hand. We get the precision that we need by doing it this way. This is our main area of our sewing department with a lot of machinery. They're all customized sewing machines that are designed to do a process that's needed for preparing fabric. As we walk through, we'll see each of those processes. Over here, we're applying handles to borders. We stitch them in with a tremendous amount of thread to make sure that they will not pull out. All of our handles are made of the same material to match the borders. Over here are some of our most proprietary processes. The preparation is really a reinforcement of holes that are drilled and then reinforcing those holes and preparing them to hold a very strong tuft throughout the mattress. Over here what we do is we prepare box springs and pillow top gussets. We do it on customized sewing machines again, but we do it manually driven instead of automatically driven. And what you'll see is that we make a perfect mitered corner this way, as opposed to a ruffled and a sloppier looking corner, and we use this on all of our premium goods. So this room is one of the coolest rooms in our entire factory. This is where we take raw cotton and garnet it into really fine layers of cotton that get layered and layered and layered over each other and come out as what we call one lap of cotton. What you see here is raw cotton being fed into the machine. And we get our cotton from the southern states like Texas, Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia, and it comes in big, huge bales. We break down those bales, chop it up, and it gets fed into this machine right here. This is one of the older machines in our factory. It's called a Fales machine, and it's really a primitive quilting machine, if you will. It's a machine with many needles that operate at the same time and stitch our cotton to either what we call paper, which is a non-woven product, or just putting cotton on netting. And the whole idea is that you don't want the cotton to fall through the spring, so you need an insulator, and we stitch our first layer of cotton to the insulator before we put it on the spring. This is where we pad our springs. Every spring starts with a layer of cotton, and I explained how the netting keeps this from falling through, but this is where we put our first layer of cotton on every spring before it goes into mattress manufacturing. As I've said a number of times, we do everything by hand, and the only machines we have are customized sewing machines. What we're looking at here is a tape edge machine, which is a customized sewing head on a carriage that goes around the mattress. That allows us to close mattresses. So what we do is we build these mattresses, and then we send them into the machine and we manually drive the machine to keep the quality perfect. And what you're seeing here is this pillow top being stitched, which contains latex wool in the pillow top, so you get a firm mattress with a plush top. And just a point that every single mattress that we make at Shifman is two-sided for the benefit of the consumer, to have two sides of a mattress and be able to rotate it and keep it comfortable and firm longer. So what do you think, Dee? Can you put any more material in this mattress? So this is our tufting area, and what this does is it takes a mattress that's been closed and it locks everything in place throughout the surface. So what you'll see on this mattress is these holes that were prepared in the sewing department are then tufted through with a long needle. And that needle goes through the top to the bottom, creating a loop of twine that's going to be inside that mattress, holding everything together. So all the layers of material, the spring, the fabric, is all being held together and locked in place so that there's no shifting or bunching, no friction between layers. And this is one of the reasons, along with our natural materials, that make our mattresses last so long. We're at the end of our mattress manufacturing line, and this is the final stage of quality control, where all material, all tufts, all stitches are checked to ensure the highest quality. Once it's inspected, then they'll go ahead and put this in a heavy mill plastic bag, and then a full carton to protect it on its way to the store, and ultimately on the way to the consumer. Here we're in our framing department, making frames for box springs. And the way we make frames from box springs is very different from the industry. We use the thickest lumber of any mattress company to make our box springs. And what you'll see here is this is 5/4 inch lumber, which means that we're using a true 1 inch thick lumber. And what you know is that 2x4s are not 2 inches by 4 inches. So we take 2x4s, split them down to this, and waste the rest because we think it's worthwhile to have the thickest frames for our premium box springs. We're building our hardwood frames here, and you'll see that we lay the slats out on the frame, and then we're going to nail those into the frame to hold them in place. We take our hardwood frames, and here's where we're going to round the corners. So you see this corner is square, and it goes onto this machine, and the machine rounds the corner. What you see Anna doing here behind me is tying these coils in place using Italian twine, which is a hemp product. It's totally natural, and instead of using polypropylene, we use this twine because it holds stronger on the coil. And by tying it 8 ways, 8 points of the coil is going to hold that coil in place so that it can only move up and down independently and never sway side to side. Once the hand-tied frame is finished here and all tied, we then put a border rod. This 3-gauge border rod is now being applied to the outside edge, because if you'll notice, the tying is all on the inside half of this coil, and the border rod is what's going to hold the outside of the coil in place and give it strength. Once this border rod is applied, then an insulator pad will be put on top, which is machine fiber stock, resinated to hold it all together, and that goes on top of this as an insulator so that when we put cotton on, it won't fall through the springs. What you see happening behind me is where we cover the box spring. So once that 8-way hand-tied box spring is completed and the border rod is applied and the insulator pad, we put the cotton on, we put cotton in the corners, and then we tailor it and pull the cover over. And then we secure it to the bottom of the frame. And then after the cover is secured to the bottom of the frame, we're then going to put a dust cover on top of it and further reinforce it and lock everything to the bottom of the box spring. This is the final process at the end of the box spring line, which is a full inspection of the product, the cover, the stitching, and everything before we then put it into packaging. And we use very thick plastic to protect our box springs and to make sure that they're not damaged on the way to the consumer. We're in our warehouse where we store a lot of finished goods so that they're available for customers for quick delivery. If we had to wait to make every piece on order, we would be waiting a long time because it takes us 8 to 12 hours to make one set of bedding. So we store them here, all of our best sellers and best selling sizes, and have them available for our retailers to deliver. Thank you for taking our virtual factory tour. We're very proud of what we do here at Shifman and so pleased to be able to show it to you.